just talking to the creator and demanding her story be different. Like all of that was such a surprise, and it felt risky, and it felt like it was going to piss people off.
What do we want? Contract! When do we want them? Now! If we don't get them, shut it down! If we don't get them, shut it down! Shut it down!
Having worked on a Disney show, I know where people fall through the cracks and where people are taken advantage of. And it's outrageous the amount of wealth that is not shared with the people who actually make the show. That's crew, cast, writers.
Actress Tatiana Maslany of She-Hulk appears to have been let go by Disney because season 2 of the program is no longer airing. Tatiana is upset about this and attributes the show's demise to its creator. Internet users are claiming that She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany has been fired by Disney completely because season 2 is not forthcoming. If Tati is fired, we most likely won't see her in any upcoming MCU projects. Some earlier rumors suggested that Kevin Feige was thinking of creating a second season for the show, but it appears that may not be the case, as the show's dismal ratings have become very concerning. The show is currently the worst-rated MCU series, which is more than enough reason to scrap the project, but it's still shocking to learn that Tatiana may be fired completely. Several Raptors online are saying that despite the planned season 2, the poor reception is what's stopping the cast and crew from moving forward. The show is only behind in ratings to Ms. Marvel, which has similarly been rumored to get a second season. However, Ms. Marvel has much higher chances of survival considering Kamala's future in the MCU. That's not to say it's a much bigger success, as The Marvels is officially the worst rated MCU movie that has surely cost Disney hundreds of millions of dollars. After the failure, it's more than likely that Disney will be scrapping its less profitable projects, which no doubt starts with Tana's project. Even the original writer of the She-Hulk book is doubting its future, as they've revealed Marvel is planning on scraping not only that but also several other future Marvel projects like Wonder Man. However, now that other projects like Echo have been revealed, it's possible that MCU is planning on changing things and putting several projects under the new Marvel Spotlight name, which is a separate world from the other MCU projects. It's possible that both She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel could still have a future under Marvel Spotlight along with Wonder Man, and perhaps even other projects like The Marvels, which would separate them from the original MCU universe and give them a chance to live out their life in a different manner. If Tatiana was indeed fired, then that means her involvement in the MCU is doubtful, which is why it would make sense for her to perhaps return in the future under Marvel Spotlight. Tatiana's termination is also not new, as there have been rumors that she would be let go since the strike started because of her remarks about Bob Iger and his opinions on the walkout. The Disney CEO stated that the strikes were disruptive and upsetting for the workplace, and Ron Perlman accused them of deliberately prolonging the strike until union members were forced to leave their homes. The controversial take and Bob Iger's remarks weren't well received because many people thought he was disparaging those who were merely trying to support their empire and make a living. For this reason, Tatiana couldn't help but publicly criticize him and came out in favor of the strikes. She not only condemned his views, but also accused him of exploiting the She-Hulk crew, something that even one of the show's writers confirmed. On the subject, Tatiana made a comment that said, "I think he's completely out of touch with the workers who make his shows happen, who make people watch these shows, who bring viewers to him, and who give him money. Having worked on a Disney production, I am aware of instances when people are exploited and fall between the cracks. The amount of money that is withheld from the staff members who truly create the show is absurd." Cast writers, she condemned Bob Iger for both his views of his workers and the way he took advantage of them, which was an incredibly bold move, but might also have had a huge influence on her fate in the MCU at the moment. However, she wasn't just saying lies either, as a writer for the show did come out on Twitter to blast Bob Iger for the very little pay they received. Cody Ziegler tweeted out twice saying, "My residual check was $396. This is why we're striking the residual check from my episode of She-Hulk attorney-at-law was $396. This was especially jarring for others to hear, since despite the show's overall bad ratings, the episode worked on by Cody Ziegler was actually one of the most watched episodes of TV, and even one of the most watched episodes on Disney+. Not only that, but it was even praised so much that it made several best episodes of 2022 list. This just goes to show that despite what many were saying, the show did have some great numbers which the writers and hard workers on. The show never got any compensation for. With all this in mind, Tatiana has actually been doubting that the second season of her show would ever come to light, as she realized very quickly that she would never get the opportunity to come back to set. Even back in October of last year, things stood pretty clear to her when asked if it would be coming back. I mean, I don't think so. Yet Kevin in the scene seems to be very dismissive of this idea, so if we're basing this off of the real Kevin, then it doesn't seem likely, but he was also, I think, just trying to get rid of Jen at that point because she was asking too many questions. Who knows? In fact, things stood so badly that when the interviewer recommended that she move on to other projects, Tatiana was more than prepared, as she completely agreed. It sounds like all hope had already been lost at the time, as she was already fully prepared to move on to other projects, even when told that a lot of fans would be sad to see the show gone. Tatiana, regrettably, had nothing encouraging to say because even she felt very defeated by the situation. She said, I mean, I don't know if I could be coy and have some little secret I would add that, but I really don't know anything. It's not that Tatiana doesn't want to return either, as she revealed that she loves the character and enjoys performing in the show, and that accepting her defeat was difficult for her. It sounds like she wasn't prepared for this when she first got the role, and the show's future seemed very promising at the time. However, while Tatiana appears to be very saddened by the fact that she won't be returning and is having a hard time coming to terms with it, other actors on the show seem completely ready to move on. Jam has been quite transparent about her farewell to the program since she realized she would never be going back. She tweeted a farewell to both her character and the show itself, stating, "Goodbye from us." Fans of She-Hulk and TNES, it was extremely fun to make this cartoonish satire with this astonishingly talented cast, creative team, and mostly crew. I had too much fun with all of you fans and critics alike on here. I love Marvel, and I love all of you. Even more proof that Tatiana has no chance of returning to the MCU is also the showrunner's stance on the project, since she seems to doubt that it's ever going to come back. She's expressed her own denial about the future of the project, as she feels like she isn't quite ready to let go of it, yet despite the fact that everyone seems to be telling her that it's time, she said, "How I feel about all of this at this very moment is how my friends with kids have described having their first child, which is you have your first baby, and then everybody starts asking, when are you going to have your second one? And they're all like, I literally just gave birth, and I'm in the delivery room still, recovering, and that's all I can think about right now. And that's how I feel." However, it's also worth remembering that the show was perhaps never meant to be something too big and was never meant to have too much influence on the universe, since She-Hulk herself was never supposed to be an A-list superhero. The Hulk was originally created as a character, so that Marvel would have the right to a female Hulk in case anyone wanted to build on their own Hulk. According to Stan Lee, the company's inventor, the A-lister should be the Hulk, not the She-Hulk. Many fans also believe that the character was created to appeal to woke audiences, and that Disney is now caving in to the anti-woke crowd by canceling She-Hulk and her future in the MCU. However, it's unlikely that this had anything to do with the show's alleged wokeness. Rather, it had to do with the bad writing choices and the fact that the story itself was never strong. It's difficult to develop She-Hulk as a character in the MCU itself, and this may be the best course of action for the MCU's future to avoid wasting anyone's time by making her appear in the story. Do you guys think Tatiana has any chance of remaining in the MCU? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out this other